DBMS Database Management System. Objectives. After this video, participants will be able to define database. They will be able to differentiate between data and information, and they will also be able to describe database. Another objective is participants will be able to differentiate between DBMS and traditional file system. Thirdly, participants will be able to analyze the advantages of using DBMS over traditional file system. To understand DBMS, first we have to understand about data and information. What do we mean by data and what is information? For a layman, both are same, but technically speaking, these two are different. Data is the collection of raw facts only. There is no organization or no processing. When these are organized and processed, then they become information. Now coming on data, let us try to understand data. Data are characteristics, usually numerical, that are collected through observation. In a more technical sense, data is a set of values of qualitative or quantitative variables about one or more persons or objects. Examples of data include name, address, mobile number. All these are characteristics or data about a person. Next question arises, what is information then? What is difference between data and information? Let us try to understand it. Basically, information is processed data. In simple terms, data are raw facts and figures, while the result received after processing of this data will be called information. For example, detail of a student profile and the marks scored by him in the exams are examples of data. When these details of a student are processed and produced in a predefined format as report card, it becomes information. That is the difference between data and information. Many times they seems equal, but the simple difference, the basic difference is that when the data is processed, it becomes information. So after understanding data and information, let us try to understand database. What do we mean by database? In simple terms, database is a collection of interrelated data which helps in efficient retrieval, insertion and deletion of data from database and organizes the data in the form of tables, views, schemas, reports, etc. For example, University database organizes the data about students, faculty and admin staff etc., which helps in efficient retrieval, insertion and deletion of data from it. That is database. Some examples of database in real life applications. All of us have seen book library. It is an example of database. Similarly, students' information is stored in the school or college or a university. Healthcare database, which records the detail of the health issues of a patient. Transportation database, like our railway reservation system or aeroplane reservation system. Banking system database, all of us have visited banks sometime or other, and we have seen how they store the day-to-day transactions, which makes them very easy to retrieve and view detail of any customer. E-learning platform database. Corona has shown us that e-learning is very important. Government census database, social media platform database, weather forecasting database. All these are examples of real life applications of database which has made our life very easy. What is DBMS? The full form of DBMS is Database Management System. It is a software which is used to manage database. That's why it is called Database Management System. For example, MySQL, Oracle, all these are popular commercial database management systems used in different applications. Now let us see what data management tasks done using a database management system. Basically, DBMS allows users to perform the following tasks. First, it gives facility to define the data. It helps in creation, modification and removal of definitions that define the organization's data in database. Secondly, a database gives facility for data updation. Whatever data we have defined, we can modify it, delete it. Whatever actual data is stored in database, many times we find that data is not correct or not up to the mark. So in that case we have to change it. Data updation is the process by which we can change or modify the existing data which has been stored in the database. Third most important function of a DBMS is data retrieval. A DBMS helps in retrieval of data from the database, which can be used by applications for various purposes. Retrieval means to select or view the data is stored based on some criteria. For example, suppose a database, high school database or college database stores data about all the students, but we require the detail of only those students who have scored more than 90%. So that can be done very easily by the function of data retrieval in a database. Next question arises, what is information then? What is difference between data and information? Let us try to understand it. Basically, information is processed data. In simple terms, data are raw facts and figures, while the result received after processing of this data will be called information. For example, detail of a student profile and the marks scored by him in the exams are examples of data. When these details of a student are processed and produced in a predefined format as report card, it becomes information. That is the difference between data and information. Many times they seems equal, but the simple difference, the basic difference is that when the data is processed, it becomes information. Now let us see how do we store data into computers. Data can be stored in computers in two ways. One was traditional system, which was file system, and second is database management system. These two systems provide different methods of storage of data. Each one has its own advantages and disadvantages. Now let us see closely the two file systems, that is basic file system and database management system. In a flat file system, the data is stored in a plain text file, which is also known as flat file database. Flat files are simple, efficient and easy to use, making them ideal for basic data needs. But when we have to store data for complex purposes or complex use, then this flat file system is not sufficient. In that case, we have to go for database management system. A database management system is a software system that allows users to create, define, manipulate and manage databases. It provides a way for organizations to store, organize and retrieve large amounts of data quickly and efficiently in an organized manner. Now let us see what are the disadvantages of file system and why we have started using database management system. When we talk about disadvantages of file system, the main disadvantages are: number 1, data redundancy; number 2, data inconsistency; number 3, lack of data security; number 4, wastage of storage space; number 5, more storage cost; and number 6, less efficient. Now let us look closely at these disadvantages of the file system, due to which we have discarded the traditional file system and we have adopted database management system. The first disadvantage is data redundancy. Now what do we mean by data redundancy? Data redundancy is simply wastage of storage space which occurs when the same piece of data is stored multiple times. Second, data inconsistency. Now what do we mean by data inconsistency? Data inconsistency is when the same data exists in different formats in multiple places. Now how it happens? Now let us try to understand it by a simple example. Suppose we are storing the detail of a student at the fee counter of the school and with the register of the class teacher. Now it may happen that at these two places the detail of the student is stored differently, and that will result in data inconsistency. Unfortunately, data redundancy can cause data inconsistency also, which can provide a company with unreliable or meaningless information. Another disadvantage of flat file system was lack of data security. Data was insecure when kept in a traditional way, like keeping it in a written form in a register. Anybody who has access of this register will view the data. So that way data was not secure in traditional file system. Next disadvantage was wastage of storage space. The traditional file keeping system requires additional storage space, resulting in wastage of storage space. And then it also required more storage cost. Since in traditional file system data is stored at multiple places, it results in more storage cost. All these disadvantages of flat file system were removed by adoption of DBMS. When we used DBMS, then there was no data redundancy because data was stored at a centralized place, as we have seen in ATM machines. Data is stored at a centralized place in the bank and we can do transaction from anywhere around the world. This has happened because of this database management system. Similarly, data inconsistency has also been reduced since data is stored at a single place from where multiple people are accessing. So data is in the same format being provided to different users. So the problem of data inconsistency was also solved. Data also became very secure because when we are using computers, then we have got provision of passwords and other security features, due to which the data was accessible to only that person who was authorized. That way data was secured. Then in DBMS we have centralized storage and data sharing, so we didn't require to create data again and again. We could share data from the server to any number of times. Then we have less storage cost also, and it is more efficient as it reduced the time and energy required for management of the data. Let us summarize the concepts which we have learned in this video. First, we learned that data and information are two different things. Data is collection of raw facts and figures, while information is processed data. So the false concept that data and information both are same, we understood it, that data is different and information is different. Then when we store this data, then we have basically two types of file systems. The first was flat file system, which we were using, but now it has been discarded with another file system, that is database management system, which is more efficient. Database is a storage location of data which provides many advantages over flat file system. Data redundancy is not present, data inconsistency is not present, data is more secured, data could be shared. All these advantages were given by this database management system, due to which the traditional file system was discarded with and database management system was adopted. The example of DBMS is your school ERP system.